Clay Travis is with us now, founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox Sports. He is in L.A. for the Super Bowl this week. What is up, Clay? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I don't have any. Are you already in L.A.? I should have asked that to begin with. I think you are. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got out here Sunday. Yeah.
We've gone to. I've not been to any Super Bowls. We've gone primarily to the college football national championship games. Some cities, the game's in town. Some cities you don't. I'm assuming no matter where the Super Bowl is, that game's in town.
Yeah, I think that's true. But, early in the week, there, at least right now, this is the second kind of COVID Super Bowl, I would say. There isn't, the players aren't here. So, obviously the Rams are here because they're from L.A. But, there are a lot of different activities going on and whatnot. But L.A. is a big city. There's always a lot going on. So, it doesn't feel like it's seismically different. A lot of times it's Wednesday or so when the frenzy kind of starts to pick up, if that makes any sense, wherever the Super Bowl is going to be.
I found this pretty amazing. I came across Joe Burrow is 7-0 straight up and against the number in college and NFL postseason games. The guy's
pretty incredible.
He's never lost a big game.
Yeah. Now, you can say, at least in the game that he won against the Titans, I'm not sure Joe Burrow won it so much as Ryan Tannehill lost it, right? And they were down, 21-3. I think he deserves credit for coming back. But if I had to, point to why they won the AFC Championship game, I would also point to the defense that the Bengals played, right, in general. But, yeah, look, the guy has been pretty incredible in big-time games, and I think that's why, if you're a Bengals fan, you're so wildly excited about him, right, is this idea that he doesn't seem to get overwhelmed by the moment. He's a very calm influence in general and has a lot of what I think is sort of that innate self-confidence.
Most of my life, the Super Bowl sucked, Clay. It was blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout. I've got that feeling this weekend that the Rams are going to do that to the Bengals. Tell me how the Bengals win the game. Is it all the calmness of Joe Burrow? How does the Rams not win this thing?
And I think if you look at Matthew Stafford, the pressure here is infinitely higher on Matthew Stafford than it is on Joe Burrow, right? Like, if you just break that down, because Matthew Stafford, how many times is he ever going to be in the Super Bowl again? I think the likelihood is maybe never again in his career. I don't know. Maybe he and Sean McVay get on a roll. But, I think you have to think of this almost as a Matt Ryan-like opportunity. And sorry for any Falcon fans listening to give up that 28-3 lead. But, Matt Ryan's probably never going to be in the Super Bowl again. That was his opportunity. And I think that's where it gets nerve-wracking. And so I think you would have to hope that Matthew Stafford turns the ball over. I think if you look at when the Rams have lost, it's typically when Matthew Stafford has thrown interception. And so I think it kind of begins and ends there, to be quite honest. If Matthew Stafford plays well, and I think he will, which is why I'm betting on the Rams, then I think the Rams are going to win. I've got the Rams in the under. I think that defense for the Rams and the Bengals defense has been playing pretty well too. But I like the Rams 27-17.
Clay Travis with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, Outkick, and Fox at Clay Travis on Twitter. Do you think, now look, Bill Belichick I think is the best that's ever done it, but at this moment in time, is Sean McVay in your mind the best coach in the NFL?
Sounds like we lost Clay.
I don't think he's just thinking about that.
I don't either. Clay Travis dropping at the Super Bowl there in Los Angeles. We'll try to get him back in just a second. Part of our show today being brought to you by the JohnstonRVCenter.com folks. Clay's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. If you want to stay connected with America's landscape, with
nice.
RV and everything, Johnston RV Center can make that happen.
Rodney and Nick Johnston, father-son team. It's an entire family operation there, though, at JohnstonRVCenter.com. Exit I-65, 304 if you go to the Coleman one. And if you want to go to the one in Decatur, exit 334 off I-65, JohnstonRVCenter.com. Clay is back on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. I was asking you, Belichick's the best ever have done it, in my opinion. But do you think today Sean McVay is the best coach in the NFL?
Yeah, I think if you had to pick a coach right now for the next 5 years, that you would have to say Sean McVay is the play. And not only has Sean McVay done well, Ryan, you will also look at all the guys that got hired
Yep.
in connection to Sean McVay. LaFleur, obviously, he's going against Taylor, a guy who knows him really well. It's not only his guys; it's the McVay proteges, and that's even a little bit interesting because if you look at the situation with Belichick and everybody who's gotten jobs based on their connection to him, I mean, who's the most successful guy who's gotten a job close to Belichick? Probably Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien,
honestly.
yeah.
And it's not like people are enamored of Bill O'Brien, although Texans fans may prefer him to what they're going to end up with David Culley and Lovie Smith and the mess with Deshaun Watson and everything else there. So I think it is super intriguing to just kind of break that down. And again, I believe McVay's only 36. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy to be 36 years old and be in your second Super Bowl.
Yeah, and can become the youngest head coach to ever win one if he wins it this Sunday. I can't believe I'm going to pivot outside of talking the Rams and talk about something that we've been beating like a dead horse, but this Bryan Harsin situation is pretty fascinating. I don't know how much you know about it, how much you've been following it, but if you're well-versed on it, I mean, what's your opinion? Is there any chance he stays, or do you think Auburn pays $18.3 and cuts him loose?
I mean, it feels like Auburn is turning over every rock to try to find a reason not to have to pay him $18.3 million and trying to find a reason to kind of put the cause label on this situation. You know, frankly, it's kind of similar to what Tennessee did with Jeremy Pruitt. And now Tennessee didn't owe him $18.3 million, but they owed him $11 million, and they fired him for cause. And so far, I don't believe he's filed a lawsuit, or at least hasn't amended the lawsuit. I can't remember if he's filed the lawsuit or not. But Tennessee seems pretty stuck to the idea of, hey, we're not going to pay you out. We found a reason you violated NCAA rules, and it feels, frankly, like Auburn is trying to find the same reason. I think certainly if Bryan Harsin was there was no cost to moving on here, I don't think there's any doubt they would move on.
I'm interested on just your perception of how do you hire a coach though in February? You've talked with Hugh Freeze before. Do you think Hugh Freeze would make a transition at this point in the hiring cycle?
My understanding is that there is a lot of money owed to Hugh Freeze now based on his new extension. I don't know that for sure. I haven't obviously reviewed his contract. I think that's probably the challenge that you would run into if you're Auburn is, whether it's Lane Kiffin, whether it's Hugh Freeze, guys who maybe would have made sense before they signed extensions at the places they are now, in addition to what's going on in terms of the cost that it might be to move on from Bryan Harsin. You may have now an obligation or responsibility to potentially put more money on the table in terms of those buyouts too.
All right, he is Clay Travis, Outkick, and Fox. I know you're in L.A. Do you stay for the game, or you just do your stuff and get out of there? What's your choice?
No, I'll be back Saturday night.
Okay, all right. That's probably the wise choice. If you find two at a reasonable price, I've got a good friend that's a Rams fan. He really wants to go, so let me know.
Yeah, no doubt. All right.
Thanks, Clay. See you, buddy.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Clay Travis with us, Outkick and Fox. He was on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.